To help us understand more about what's important in business to business marketing, we're going to look at the supply chain. And a supply chain is just the steps a product goes through from creation all the way through to the final customer. And, we know from COVID, so supply chain got disrupted for many different products all over the globe. So the supply chain should be a somewhat familiar topic, even if you're not sure exactly what it is. And every supply chain can be different. There is no one type or an optimal supply chain that applies to all industries or all companies. And it can involve many different companies. It could be just one company doing everything themselves. That's still a supply chain. And in the end, certain things need to be done, right? And the reason why business to business marketing is so large, one reason is that, hey, as we went through and we built our entertainment systems to sell to Ford or Best Buy, well, we bought parts from a lot of different businesses, and maybe we had another bit. We bought software to help run it and everything. We had to cut deals with Apple and Android and etc. and Google and so forth. So that's all business to business marketing. And at the very end, if we sell to a customer, that's B2C. So here's an example of a generic supply chain. Usually it starts with raw materials. Somebody takes those raw materials and does something to them to make them a little bit more functional. And that and a bunch of other products or raw processed materials, things go to a manufacturer. So they actually make kind of the finished product. And then it gets distributed. So it will go through a retailer, whether it's on ground, online, multiple retailers. And then in this case, it happens to be, going to a consumer, they're going to buy it. But the raw materials, the processor, manufacturer, the retailer, that's all business to business. So we're going to work with this supply chain and to understand the 3 or 4 factors that are really important in business to business marketing. So I have this thing for leather boots, women's leather boots, right? So what's raw material? Cowhide. That's not a real cow, by the way. That's just a little model of a cow. So the cowhides aren't even probably the main product, right? Cows, bulls are slaughtered for their meat, right? And some other things. And then, the slaughterhouses collect the hides, and then they have them and they can sell them. And they sell them to companies that can process that leather. So the hide into leather, right? A bloody, stiff cowhide into, nice, soft, buttery leather in different colors and thicknesses and everything. And then the leather is purchased by the shoe manufacturer, along with other things, whether they're for the heels, the linings, and other things. But they take all those things and they make pretty much a finished product, right? And who knows where the manufacturers, their factories are located, right? And a lot of them aren't even located in the U.S. So what do? They ship it to a retailer, and it might go through several different levels of distribution, but it's going to end up at Macy's. And they're going to put them, for sale. And then somebody's going to walk in and buy them and be happy and wear them. So that's a relatively simple supply chain. Okay, so let's pretend a new law has been passed in Springfield, in Massachusetts, called Finders Keepers, Loser Weepers. All right? So in other words, if you find something and there's nobody around, you get to keep it. It's yours. You don't have to worry about who owned it before. So you're walking home or walking to your dorm from school or walking home, whatever it is, and a big truck comes by and hits a big pothole, and from the back of a truck, the door swings open and out pops a cowhide, fresh from the slaughterhouse. It's still got the fur, the skin on it, the hair, it's bloody, it's just one big shape. How many people pick it up? Probably not too many. The next day, you're walking back, okay, on the same path. Another truck comes by, hits the same pothole, and out pops a spool of leather. Yeah, maybe weighs like 30, 40 pounds. It's all wrapped up nice like we saw before. How many people pick it up? Maybe a few, but not as many as you would think, at least, from my experience in class. Third day, you're walking home again or back to your dorm, and then a truck comes by, hits that same pothole. Potholes never get fixed in Springfield. And out pops a pair of boots in a box, right? With a name brand on it. It's unopened and it's intact. You go to look at the box. It has a size if you're a woman. It's your size if you're a guy. Well, you could wear them too if you really wanted to, but it would fit your girlfriend or your mom. How many people pick it up? Most people pick it up. So when you think about that, all right, what must each company do to be a member of the supply chain? In other words, why do most people pick up the box with the finished product in it, but very few people pick up the cowhide that's got dried blood and hair, stiff as a board, all right? And not that many people pick up a spool of leather, even though it's in their favorite color. So what you pick up the boots, finished boots, because they have value. So that's what each company must do along the way. They must add value, which is often called value added. All right, the slaughterhouse provides the raw cowhide. The processor modifies it, turns it into finished leather, which is closer to can be ready now to be made into a boot. All right, the shoe manufacturer takes that and the other materials and the expertise and has their factory and workers, and they make the boots. And the retailer adds value by taking the product and having the ability to get people to come into their store who are interested in buying boots and clothing and sell it. So if you can't add value, right, to the product, why would somebody buy the same product they could get from the company that you bought it from? So if you just buy cowhides and try to resell them without doing anything to add value, why would somebody buy them from you? I would just go to the source, cut out the middleman, so to speak. So what does 1-800-Flowers do? So, if you live from far away or your mom lives in another state and you want to send her flowers on Mother's Day, but you can't remember any of the florists in your area, what can you do? You can call 1-800-Flowers and ask them to send flowers to your mom. You pick some flowers from a menu, and then you swipe your credit card or enter your credit card numbers, and boom, away you go. So, does 1-800-Flowers own stores all over the country? No, they don't own any stores. So what do? How do they add value? Well, by having a 1-800 number, right? People from, all over can call, and then they have relationships, contracts with many different florists all over the country on an agreed upon menu and pricing. So 1-800-Flowers will place the order, take the payment, keep their cut, and then provide the florist, the local florist, with the order, where to deliver it, and their share of the payment. So they've added value, but they haven't modified the product. So you don't need to do that all the time. Adding value isn't always changing the product. It's somehow adding value to the whole process of how this product happens or reaching new customers. And I have flowerusa.com there just because there was an alum from AIC who started flowersusa.com and did the same thing 1-800-Flowers before they were around. And he sold his business for about $10 million. And the story doesn't end well because along the way he decided never to pay any income tax to the IRS for his business or personal. So he ended up going to jail for that. And he has since then passed on. But you can think of different ways to add value, right? 1-800-Flowers, Airbnb. What does Airbnb do? They connect, match people who want to rent, lease, visit, vacation, and certain places and certain types of domiciles, and they match them with people who want to lease and provide that service, right? Uber, right? They just made a service so that you could get on your phone and get somebody to pick you up and drive, and you can feel comfortable and safe, right? Kayak, Booking.com, right? They don't fly the airplanes, they don't have the hotels, they just connect people. They're adding value because they can bring more customers to the hotels, so the people want to lease, and so forth. And it makes it less expensive for the Marriott and especially smaller hotels and motels through Kayak and Booking.com to get customers. So they're adding value in that sense. So be creative when you think about that.